Hello, Vitaliy Dubinin here from ProfitWithVitaliy.com. On today's Daily Inspirational Show for Online Entrepreneurs, episode 314, I want to teach you 5 laws of running a successful webinar that I learned from Filsaime and Jenkins, who made millions and millions and millions of dollars online running webinars. And if you don't know why webinars is the best way to market online, then go to my blog. I published a blog post and watch my previous episodes and catch up. So law number 1 is the law of maximum registrations. This is all about how to maximize registrations, how to maximize the amount of people who actually register for your webinar. So you have a registration page, and there is so many things that you can do to increase this number. The best way to double the conversions that you're having and the ROI on your webinars is not to double your webinar effectiveness, is to double how many people actually register for the webinar. So for example, your headline is one of the most important elements on the page. You have 5 seconds to grab their curiosity so they can give you attention, so you can have an opportunity to transform them, to educate them, and really enter to their world. So how do you write your headline? Really spend some time on that. What is the uniqueness of your webinar? I'm going to publish tomorrow, and check out for that 19 different headline formulas that you can use to craft your webinar titles. But not only that, any headlines, any subject lines, any call to action that you have, it's going to come really, really handy. So for example, what is one of them? How I used Facebook to sign up 129 people, 129 reps into my business in less than 6 months without spending any money on advertising, and how you can too. Something like that I pulled on the top of my head. Would you come to this webinar? It's actually true, by the way. There's a lot of different ways how you can do that. And the number one mistake that people make on the landing page of the registration page for the webinar is they talk too much about the webinar. People don't care about that so much. People care about their pain, okay? They care about their pain. So you want to show them, that have them real, they have a pain, and make them, tease them with a couple of ideas that you have a cure for their pain, and get them to register. Even, create a PDF report, something, a freemium that you will give away as part of them registering for the webinar, okay? So that's number 1. Now, the law number 2 is the law of maximum attendance. This is all about how you can get the people who register to actually attend the webinar. There is a period of time from the moment they register to the moment they actually show up live to the event, what you can do to increase the show up ratio. And if you can do this right, you can expect to get 60% show up ratio, whether here it's about 60 to 70% is good. All right, so what you can do, you can have videos and blog posts that you can have, email follow-up, and have an email sent to them and explain to them, this is the pain they have, this is the outcome they can have, this is so many awesome testimonials from people and case studies, and some awesome information that you're going to deliver on the webinar, and remind them to, to book this, schedule it, put it on the forehead, and make sure they show up, because you're going to teach them something that can change their life, okay? So you want to follow up and get the most people to attend the live event, okay? There's a lot of things you can do there. Number 3 is the law of maximum engagement, okay? This is all about how do you get people to actually stick through the webinar, to actually go through the whole 60, 90 minutes, however long the webinar is, from the moment they show up. There's a lot of things that you can do in this area. For example, you can promise them to give them something really, really cool, something of really, really great value at the Q&A at the end of the webinar. So they have an incentive to stay through actually the whole time. But how you are, how engaging you are, how you care, and how you conduct the whole presentations really is going to affect, how long the people are going to keep engaged. And this is something you want to work on, being engaging, being entertaining, and showing them something cool. The number 4 law is the law of the perfect offer, okay? This is actually how you can structure your webinar itself so that you will get results, you'll get sales in the end of the webinar. There's a lot of things that you can do in this area, okay? one of the most important things that you can do is you can share a story. You can share a story about your struggle, real pain that you went through. How did you realize, how you even got to the situation that it was so painful, and how it was so frustrating, and how you finally had an epiphany, and you discovered something, and you start teaching them about all the mistakes that you've made, and all the things that you've learned along the way, and actually teaching them and transforming them and educating them and showing them and helping them believe what they need to believe in order to accept your solution. Actually being an expert and showing your expertise in this area. You don't want to have a bio, hey, I've achieved that, I made $60,000 in 6 months, I look at me, blah, blah, blah. What you want to do is you want to share a story. I remember a time how I was working for $6 per hour, being a bank teller. It was so frustrating. I wanted to kill myself. It was so boring, and it was so embarrassing to go, for example, working at the local supermarket and approaching strangers to sell them a Visa Supercard, again, for a minimal pay. And I barely had money to pay for the rent or to feed the kids, let alone go to restaurants or buy fancy clothes or vacation. Forget about that. We were in debt, and money was really tight. So you can imagine how I felt when I finally, after working for hours and hours and hours and hours every single day on my online business with no results, how I finally opened an email and saw my first commission that on the internet. And then things started to speed up a little bit, and now there is no one day that I don't make at least $200 every single day, and some days I have up to $5,000 in a day. But it was not always like that, right? So you want to share a story in a compelling way in a webinar, okay? Law number 5 is the law of the follow-up, okay? So when you're actually done with the webinar, it's not enough. You want to follow up with people. You want to send them messages. Hey, this webinar was cool. It was a hit. So many people love that. Look at all those testimonials. Those are the questions that I answered on the webinar. Here's the deadline before I remove the replay. Stuff like that. You want to follow up so that the most people will actually see the replay of the webinar, okay? So if you maximize those points, get the most people to register, the most people to attend, the most people to engage with you, the most people, to actually see the offer, it will make sense, an irresistible offer, okay? And follow up, and I kind of there is so much I can teach you, but I want to make this video for 4 hours, right? This is something that I can definitely, if you spend more time with me, I can go and teach you that in more detail. But hopefully in this video you got an idea of the 5 laws of how to run a successful webinar. This is what you want to focus on. And if you want to get notified about my next webinar, just go to my website, profitwithvitaliy.com, subscribe to my newsletter. I'll let you know, about when it's coming, and make sure to feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your feedback. And with that being said, hope you enjoy this episode. Always remember to dream bigger and think bigger and play even bigger in your business, in your life, and take massive action every single day to accomplish your goals and your dreams. I'll see you in the next episode.